Howdy howdy, this is MJ with Swinging Through Comics. Today I want to be talking about Ultraman, the Rise of Ultraman. Ultraman, the Rise of Ultraman. That's what it looks like on the on the comic cover. Anyway, issue 2, which came out October 7th, so just a couple days ago. As I am recording this, I read this not too long ago, like less than 30 minutes ago, and I gotta say I was impressed. I liked the first issue, all right. This second issue is, as the kids say, fire, and I was really impressed with it, and I don't know, it's more firmly put me as an Ultraman fan. So I'm gonna go ahead, and for y'all watching the video version of it, I'm gonna zoom up on the cover, and I'm just gonna talk about it. It's cool. It's got those ships that I like so much from the USP, and it's got Ultraman on the cover, even though he only sort of appears in this. It's got Kaiju, which appear in this, and I guess it's Muramatsu on the left side. I couldn't figure out who that was supposed to be, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Muramatsu on the left, and then Fuji, or Kiki, is on the right at the top. She and he they do a pretty good job of having them share roles in this episode, and I'm not one of these like Comicsgate guys, or one of the people who complains overly about, like, you know, not hashtag, but like TM strong female characters being included and stuff. I grew up with Xena and Sarah Connor and Ripley, and I can't think of anybody else at the moment. But like Nefertiti in Mummies Alive, and like, you know, I loved Sora and Mimi and their Digimon in that show, and, you know, Rika Nanaka was fantastic from Digimon Tamers and stuff. So like, I got no problem with, you know, awesome female characters, you know, like Cell Saga, whatever. So there's lots of different stuff, and, you know, that's a comedy show, but still, Excel was, you know, the lead. Anyway, I'm gonna get into talking about the credits, and then I will get deeper into this because I have much to say. Oh boy, I seem to have lost my credits screen grab, and I'm gonna pause real quick because I want to give credit. Well, here we go. It's kind of on the front. So this is credited to Higgins, although it's weird, on the Marvel website it says Inactive next to his name. So I wonder if maybe Higgins and Groom are writing this together, and maybe because they co-wrote the first issue, and I think Higgins took the Kaiju Steps issues, and I think they co-wrote the Ultra Q story as well. Anyway, it looks like Matthew Groom wrote this. He was the lead writer on this. Manna did the arts, and then this Grundetjean did the colors, right? Or no, was it the lettering? I'm so sorry. I really had intended to do this the proper way, but if you look in the show notes for this, or if you look on my blog at mjmunoz.com/stc, and you find the entry for this, you'll be able to see exactly who did what in the credits, and it'll be super clear there. And I goofed. Sorry about that. Anyway, I have to say that going through this, I went ahead and made myself, you know, thumbnails, as I do, and I was using those to kind of think about the issue, and I picked 2 quotes for 2 different thumbnails for it. I have one is far from perfect, which is short, which is I'm far from perfect, but basically give me a chance and I can become more. And that's from Shin Hayata, and Ultraman, or this particular Ultra, said to him that you don't understand. He's saying you can't become an Ascended Ultra. And I guess I'll just really, I don't know, what do I want to do? I love the art in this. This image that I featured on one of the thumbnails has Ultraman in like these dull gray colors, and there's this really neat, like, disintegrating effect as they're inside of each other's minds, basically, as they're locked in this this field after Shin, you know, shot him, touched fingers, or whatever. And like they're talking about kaiju and like the lore and stuff, and the lore is really cool. I'll just read this line real quick. This energy, the energy of kaiju, is drawn to darkness, to darkness of the soul, greed, jealousy, hate, and basically, this Ultra has come to Earth, just like his brother before him, because Earth is it's on the precipice of a kaiju crisis, as he calls it, where the world will become overrun by kaiju, and then all these dark emotions will be stoked in human hearts and souls, and the kaiju will feed off of that. And I assume, it doesn't really say, I assume that the planet will be destroyed, and all life on it will be destroyed, and the Ultras, the idea, I'll share the lore because it's so cool, and it's what really touched me. The Ultras go from planet to planet, and they will help the beings ascend when they can, so that they can make themselves basically inconsumable or like indigestible to like insusceptible, I guess is the right way to say that, to the kaiju and the darkness of the kaiju. And humans, Earth, has been judged to be unworthy or incapable of this ascension. And that's kind of the crux of the whole issue. Now, besides that, you have all this great stuff going on with Muramatsu and Kiki. Muramatsu feels all this guilt. He feels responsible for Shin Hayata's apparent death. You have, through their exposition, it's revealed that there's more going on with the USP than they know. He's like the shift commander, and he sets schedules for people in the area, and this place that they end up going to where that giant weapon that I complained about, how it was drawn, my argument still stands that it wasn't drawn super well. Especially because I had to figure out that that's what shot down this Ultra ship. Anyway, it just was so unclear in the art. Anyway, but that gun, the Starlight, whatever, at this facility was fired from there. And the guy who was on duty that day guarding it was supposed to have the day off. So Muramatsu knew that meant that there's way more going on than he knew that he knows about, because he knows that he's doesn't have access to classified material, and what Kiki's been able to find out is just affirming that stuff to him. So he really puts his life on the line in an awesome display of coolness and boldness and bravery. And he allows her to go and talk to this scientist who actually developed the technology for that big cannon that shot down this Ultra ship. So that's all super cool. But that's all super cool and engaging. But that's just the side story. What really got me was this emotional core. And I'll just talk about it broadly. But Shin's saying like, hey, let me be. Like, I know you're saying we have to merge or reconcile ourselves, but like, let me be in control, please. Like, I'm worried. Well, I think he is fearful somewhat to give up control, because that's natural. But he's also saying that like he wants to be a light, and that he wants to step up into this heroic role, and he wants to show that humans can ascend, and this Ultra is telling him that he can't. And he says, because you don't understand. He's trying to explain all this stuff to him. They do this awesome thing that I've noticed recently in other Marvel books. I don't know which one it was, but I was talking about it recently. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Where they have all these word bubbles on top of each other. They're overlapping. It's unclear. It's difficult to read. And it's cool because it's taxing to read. And I was trying to read it quickly because I felt like the way it was set up, it was demanding to be read quickly. And I was trying to read each thing. And I missed some of it, just like Shin did, or Hayata did in this... and he calls him Shin Hayata, in this exchange, because he's incapable. And it's neat that I as a reader am incapable of fully comprehending what's going on, and that's going on to the character too. So it really like pulled me into it there, and that was a lot of fun. But then I love how he tells the Ultra, like, no, I want to do that. Push me. Like, I want you to guide me. I want to be in control, but I want you to guide me, and I want to show that humans can be more than what you think and what you and your people have judged us to be. And it's awesome. I love this line. He says, I'm so far from perfect, but I can rise to this challenge. We all can if you give us a chance. And the Ultra agrees. And that's really cool. And he says this great line. He says, I hope you're ready, Shin Hayata, because your fate, my fate, and the fate of your entire world is in your hands. And then he hands him the little capsule device that Shin Hayata will use to transform into Ultraman. And I just love it. So, I mean, I kind of spoiled, I don't know, I kind of spoiled the issue, but I also didn't, because there's so much more than what I went into, and it's definitely worth your read. The art is good. I think the art is better this time, which is interesting because it's the same artist, but there weren't those backups, the kaiju steps, or the Ultra Q story in there. It was just all this story, and it was all really good. Very compelling. I was moved. I ran over and told my wife about it. She said, you get emotional from everything. But, which is kind of true. But Tokusatsu, for some reason, it just hits me in such a way. Even in comic book form here, it's doing a great job. This is way better than Spider-Man Bloodline, which is something I've recently been reviewing on this channel. Or comic I've recently been reviewing, and it's better than Beastheart Strikers. And I don't say that to be mean, but this is more of the Tokusatsu stuff I was hoping for in a comic book form than like what Beastheart Strikers has going on. And which it's good, it's enjoyable, but it's just not like going where I want it to go, and it's not being like, it's Tokusatsu and other stuff. It's a comic book that happens to have Tokusatsu and like romance and other stuff in it, whereas this is like it's a tokusatsu comic book, and I'm really liking it. And I think I really like Ultraman. I've said that before, but like the more Ultra stuff I get exposed to, the more I like it, and the better it is, the better it gets. And gosh, I don't know, the more I enjoy it. But like, this speaks to me of the heart of what Ultraman is. And I had asked, because I have this writing project that I have where I want to do a comic. I actually want to do some kids stories that are inspired by Rider Sentai and Ultraman, and I was trying to figure out like what is the core of Super Sentai, because I don't know it as well as I know Rider, and then like what's the core of Ultraman. And I asked Pri, or Sunglass, I don't really know how she calls herself, but it looks like Sunglass, which is funny. Anyway, I asked her. She runs capes and cool scarves, and she has a Twitter account and stuff. She talks about Ultraman, does a bunch of really cool work on it, comprehensive stuff that I can't even I don't even get into, because it's like, well, I'm not really watching the thing. Maybe if it was in a video format, I'd tune in to hear all her thoughts on it, but because of the format, I just don't have time to read because I have all these other things going on. Anyway, she talked about the core of Ultraman being like an intellectual curiosity about the world, like nobility, courage, all these positive things, and like those are all the things that the Ultra here like conveys to Shin that humanity like doesn't fully possess, and it's like setting that up for him to want to ascend to. And I think that's why this is called The Rise of Ultraman, because there's even this line in there about Ultra and Man, the Shin Hayata and the Ultra that he's communing with, merging together into not an Ultra, not a man, but an Ultraman. And I think it all falls in line very much with what she said the ethos of Ultraman is. And it's super exciting, and it's funny knowing like the core theme and the core message of it does not detract from like watching the beauty of it unfold in front of you as you're reading the issue. So like, anyway, you should definitely read this. Like, if you like any superhero comics, I think you should read this. If you like Spider-Man, if you like Cap, you should definitely read this. This actually reminds me a little bit, and I don't know how much Groom has done, because this was mostly him on the writing credit. I don't know how much he's done, but this reminded me of some of the more emotional stuff in Spider-Man Life Story, written by Chip Zdarsky, art done by Mark Beckley, and like how good it was, and like it gets to the core, and it feels almost like Spider-Man's core, his heart, like the thing that makes that character work, is almost the same thing as Ultraman. And that thought occurred to me while I was reading this, because of like how deep and emotional it got, and like that idea of hope and holding on to the light through the darkness, and like trying to become better and trying to reach these things. That whole power responsibility thing, like the greater the power you have, the more responsibility you have, right? It's kind of the same thing with the Ultras, where like they have ascended to this universal mentality, and they see the connections between all life and all this stuff, and it's like a really ascended spiritual idea. And I love that. I love that spirituality. I loved it in Kamen Rider Ghost while I was watching that, regardless of what you can say about that show. And I love how it's being conveyed here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ultra, or this Ultraman, guides Shin Hayata in his journey. And I'm disappointed this is only going to be 5 issues. I'm interested to see what happens in the 5 issues. I hope it concludes in such a way that it's open to telling more stories in the future, while having its own conclusion here. And that's all I'm going to say. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, and share to help me grow. Don't forget to subscribe to keep current with each release. Chat with me on Twitter at MJ_scribe. Visit mjmunoz.com/podcasts to find the multiple feeds in which I analyze Star Wars, Tokusatsu, comics, and more. Visit mjmunoz.com/support for links to my Redbubble and Coffee pages, so you can help me keep doing the things I do. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Until next time, be well, and may you find the strength to be the hero you needed in your most desperate hour.